Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, all praise be to Allah, the Lord of the heavens and the earth and the Master of the Day of Judgment, and peace and blessings be upon our beloved Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. O Allah, grant us knowledge, wisdom and sincerity. Dear listeners, welcome again to your favorite show, The Modern Family. I'm your host Hatim Al-Absalam and
Wa'il Al-Harrasi.
Today we have again another important topic. It's a continuation of yesterday's topic, home and domestic safety. Joining us today is our distinguished guest, Mr.
Musallam Al-Khaifi.
Musallam Al-Khaifi, who is an HSE manager in one of the organizations and a safety expert, joining us today. And today we're going to talk about road safety. But before we get into road safety, yesterday we were not able to cover all the important points about domestic and home safety. So Mr. Musallam, inshallah, will take us through some of the tips and some of the ideas that how we can keep our homes safe. And then, inshallah, we'll get into today's topic, which is road safety. Tafadhal.
Bismillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Thank you very much, Sheikh Hatim and Dr. Wa'il, for hosting me again in this great program. Really appreciate that and appreciate your trust on me. We are going to continue what we left yesterday at the end about the domestic and home safety. And I remember we started from the gate, car park, we went through the sitting room, we went to the bedroom and the staircases.
And the staircase,
We haven't touched yet in details the kitchen and the toilets and bathrooms. And I think it's the areas we're going to cover today very quickly before we move into the road safety. Of course, we know one of the most dangerous areas in the home, the domestic areas, is the kitchen because of what contains in it. There is a hazard of fire there. You have a gas which is very explosive, butane gas. You have fire which you cook with all the time. You have electrical appliances. You have chemicals and some hot oils and cooking oils and a lot of other things. It's a mixture of things. And normally in our and I think most of the areas in the world, in the kitchen, you will have a store. And that store will store anything from hazardous materials to cooking things, mixture of things, and it happens most of the everywhere in our houses. So what we want to ask everybody to be very careful with the kitchen. First of all, when we start with the gas cylinders, we need to understand where do we put those gas cylinders. We should never put them very close to where we cook. I know there are some buildings where they don't provide a separate place for the gas cylinders, and we should be very worried with that, because if that tube explodes, it's like a bomb.
Yes.
So we should be very careful. Secondly, we go through the line themselves we use to take the gas to our cookers. The flexible lines. Many people would like to use those. They are very cheap. I think it's about 500 paisa per meter. You can buy it from everywhere, and they are cheap ones. And sometimes they're good, but most of them, if they are exposed to direct sunlight or something, they degrade very quickly and they can start leaking, and that is again dangerous. Okay, about the kitchen again, the electrical appliances, we need to make sure that they are always clean, they are always maintained. Even the exhaust fan, something simple like exhaust fan that every kitchen has. With our oil cooking, we like to fry a lot, let's admit it. With the cooking oil always sucked into this exhaust fan, and they get heat up and they get fire. Okay, so a lot of hazards and risks in the
Speaking
kitchen.
about the exhaust fan, there are also many cases where people leave the exhaust fan continuously on, and then it overheats and it catches fire.
That's another problem, and mostly the exhaust fans which are
sealed,
fixed on the windows. You should be more worried of those, because the vibration becomes higher and they are not normally stable. So the exhaust fan that are fitted to the wall, they're better than the exhaust fan fitted to the windows. So you should be very careful with you. Another thing is that many mistakes happens, many accidents happens in the kitchen, is where somebody smells a gas leak or something while entering the kitchen. And what did he decide, or she decides, is to switch on those exhaust fan. And you get the bomb. Yeah,
because of the spark.
Absolutely. Any electrical equipment you have at your home can produce spark very easily.
Even lights.
Yeah.
So when you
even lights.
Yes.
So what we tell everybody, many accidents, people died and got burned to death because of these type of things. When you ever smell a gas in your kitchen, please don't switch on or even switch off anything which is on. All what you need to do is go back to your cylinder place where you have a gas cylinder, completely shut it off, then slowly go and open the door and the window, very slowly, and don't switch anything on. Don't try to pull out the gas from the exhaust fan. You're going to have the bang. Okay, so please, this is a very important thing. We know in Oman so many accidents happen because of this. Okay. Again, about the kitchen. Whenever you decide to leave your home for holidays or for any particular time that it's a long time, from 2 days and above, please switch off and kill off your gas from your cylinder. Don't even depend on your valves inside the kitchen. Go on the cylinder head and just kill off that gas, just shut it off. And before you leave home, switch off all your electrical appliances. Only those necessary, you should keep them. And if you're going for a long time, again, let's be careful with the food, frozen food. Many people don't realize that whilst you're away, the electricity can go off, and your frozen food can go below, or higher than the temperature they should be, which is between -5 and the 60 degrees Celsius. Anything above -5 and anything below 60 degrees Celsius can contaminate the food, and you're gonna get food poisoning. So what happens a lot in most of our houses is that sometimes we trust the electricity. We leave frozen food for weeks. We're going for holidays, coming back not knowing that at one time the electricity was off, the frozen food got defrosted automatically, and suddenly they got frost again when the electricity went on, and then we go and cook those frozen food, especially chicken and meat and so forth, and then we get a food poisoning. So please, if you are leaving for a long time, take off those frozen food, give it to your neighbor, give it to your family, and when you come back, buy a fresh one.
Be charitable.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a question regarding safety with gas, and just in case if there is a gas leak. Are you aware, Msalem, of any safety systems that people could install at home that would link the gas detectors to the circuit breaker or to the DB and shut off electricity?
Well, there are some systems that some organizations, the big companies, use, but I don't think for the domestic houses yet there are value for money. People wouldn't have to spend. It's a lot of money. But what cheaper model is to try to, first of all, make the connections of your gas cylinder to your cooker a professional ones. They will cost you perhaps 150 riyals, 200 riyals, a proper pipes and valves for shutting off, automatic shutting off and so forth. There are cookers now that are coming in the market. Perhaps you will pay more 20 riyals than the others, but they'll also have an automatic shutting off of the gas if they leak without. So let us invest on that. And again, we can put smoke detectors. And there are some gas detectors also there. So we can buy those, even if they are standalone, but they give you alarm if there is anything in your kitchen. That is a cheaper solution. Yes, exactly.
Something else, maybe when we design our houses and our homes, we shall minimize the distance between where the cylinders are kept and the cooker is kept.
That is if it's inside, if your cylinder is inside. But if it is outside...
Even if it's outside, I mean... there are people who really don't think about where to keep the cylinders, because if you had the outer wall of the kitchen, you could drill immediately where you are keeping your cooker inside, and you might use probably 1 meter of piping.
Yeah, exactly. That's
rather than keeping all the gas cylinders very far away and put it in a different shade, and then pull 5 to 10 meters of
the longer
gas
the
line.
pipe, the more you're exposed to those pipe getting degraded and leaks and everything. But what I meant is that if the gas leaks outside your house, it's you're much better off than if it leaks inside. So yes, if it's inside, make it as short as possible. Wherever the gas pipe enters your house, be the short as possible, so that if anything happens, it's from outside, not inside your kitchen. And again, if we go into other areas of the house, like toilets and bathrooms, a few inches of water enough to drown a toddler or child. Okay, so we always recommend guys to completely close your lids of your toilets always, and in your bath try to remove the water holders and everything. Just keep it open, so that if the water is opened accidentally by your child, it won't create a swimming pool. Also, make sure that your heaters are below 50 degrees Celsius, 49 and below. Because then you won't get the scur and burns from the water heaters.
Is it there available in the normal heaters that we have at home that you can adjust? Is there a function?
All the heaters comes with a regulator below it, but many people perhaps don't know. If you just open the lower part of the lid, you will find a switch, a regulator that you can regulate the heater from higher and lower temperatures. And we recommend, although some people would like to keep it higher because there may be many people going to office at one time, taking shower at one time during winter, and if one person uses that water, then it becomes cold. But we said it's worth it. The heater takes less than 5 minutes to heat the water again. So please keep it below 50 degrees Celsius. And again, look at your slippery surfaces at your kitchen and at your bathroom. And even in the bath itself, bath tube. Please put that anti-slippery mat, and for the sake of your children when they take shower. Okay, and always, we repeat again, supervision. Always parenting supervision while the children are inside the bathroom and the toilet.
What about using the soap bars instead of the liquid soaps? Because children, maybe they can put the liquid soap into their mouth, or something could happen. Yeah, that's another solution. Yes, absolutely. I mean, if you go to the children or baby shops, you'll find they sell both. You choose the bar better than the liquids, and the shampoos also. You have to be very careful. Although they say they are tear-free, they won't produce tears, but they can harm the children if they drink them. They don't know so we say always don't leave the child unattended in the kitchen. Okay, and last but not least, perhaps, is the what we were trying to finish yesterday when we were talking about the emergency preparedness. We said each house should always know what number to dial when something happens, an emergency, if there is a fire, if there is anything, and also should know from now which hospital to attend. Should something happen, if it's the closest one to the house, or sometimes hospital. But sometimes, depending on the injuries, if you have burns and broken severely broken parts of your body, we recommend always to go to Hola. They are the specialists, because sometimes when you go to these smaller clinics around the villages, they will always transfer you again back to. So it's better directly to go to exactly. Hola. If you're not verified, it's better. But if you need for the injured person to be stabilized before he goes to the hospital, for instance, if it's bleeding heavily, and definitely you need to stop the bleeding, and you needed support, you couldn't do it, then yes, you can send him there to stop the bleeding, stabilize the patient, and then send him to Hola. So at least you need to analyze the situation and have at least the basic knowledge of what to do. Absolutely, and that's why yesterday we said we recommend everybody in house, the parents, the family, to learn something about first aid, life support. Now,
it's not the age of people memorizing information. It's the age of people finding the information.
Yes.
There's a lot of information there. The website, just a click of your mouse, you get everything. So please just go there and learn about first aid. It might help you, and I'm sure it will help you one day because during the emergency, most of us panic.
Yes.
And during the panic, you can induce more, harm to the injured person than help him. So definitely, people need to know at least basics of the first aids. Okay.
Did we mention yesterday about the pin?
Yeah, I think we mentioned about the incident which happened with the little kid who used the pin to put it in the power plug, electrical supply, and got electrical shocked and died. But those pins also are very dangerous with the pinch point. Ladies like to put them everywhere.
Yeah.
You'll find them in your car seats. You'll find them on your couches. You'll find them on their curtains. Whenever they think of taking the hijab at home and taking out the pins, they will put them everywhere, and then they'll forget about them.
Yes.
Again, we say children are very anxious to find out what's going on. If you see something like a small round ball or something, they will want to take it
something
out
shiny.
and play with it. Yes, and you have a lot of pinch points, and some of them they are very painful. So definitely we want again we remind people to have those basic emergency equipment like smoke detectors, fire extinguisher, fire blankets at your kitchen. Sometimes we need to train, especially our housemaid who are most of the time in the kitchen, and our wives. Really, they need to learn. What about if you don't have the one of those things and your frame pane caught fire? We know that the worst thing you're going to do is trying to put it into water, and that's most of those, trying to do is putting water into the frame pane or moving the frame pane to the washing basin or something and put a water in, and that's the last thing you want to do,
which will create a bigger fire.
Exactly. Many accidents happens because of that. So what we say is that if you don't have the fire blanket, any other towel or something, try to just soak it into water a little bit, and then covering your fingers and your hands, go slowly and put it in top of that frame pane without exposing yourself and anybody else into danger. Yeah. If you think that the fire is very difficult to control, it's already gone out of your control, not only in the frame pane, in other cabinets of the kitchen or anything, don't try to be a hero. Just leave the home, call the emergency, and let them deal with it. Yeah? Don't risk your life or anybody else in the house due to that.
Thank you very much, Musallam, for that brief about yesterday's topic. Now we'll get into today's topic, which is road safety. We use the road on a daily basis to move from one place to another. The roads are almost our homes. And someone once came and told me, a foreigner living in Oman, and said, I don't understand how the Omani people are so calm and so cold, and then suddenly once they're behind the steering wheel, they become lunatics.
Yeah.
And this is an issue that has been addressed all over the country for a lot of times, and there have been a lot of campaigns and awarenesses about road safety, but still the number of accidents are increasing, the fatality rate is getting higher, and the worst part about it that some people might lose their lives, and especially kids. And today we're very, very much concerned about kids. So where do we start, Sheikh Musallam?
First of all, statistics don't lie. And true as what you said. If you look at Royal Oman Police statistics in Oman, from the 1990s until now, it's very frightening. We are killing around 1,000 youth every year in this country, with over 10,000 very severe injuries of different types. Okay, this number, according to the World Health Organization, WHO, we have been tapped as one of the very bad countries, worst countries, when considering the population of the country. Yeah. So considering the population, with the accidents, the fatalities we have at the roads, we are one of the worst. Yeah. And definitely, as you said, there were a lot of campaigns that have been done, a lot of workshops, a lot of international workshops to deal with this. But it seems that we have not touched the right string yet. We don't say that these are not beneficial, they're not producing results, but we say that according to the statistics, again, that they do not lie, we need to do more. We need to do more to ensure that everybody is safe in our roads.
If I may ask you, Musallam, where did we go wrong? Or where is the problem exactly?
I think the problem is not lying in one point. There's many things that are going on, according to the experience I have. You know, the road safety is about four things. The driver, the car type, the third-party user of the roads, which includes also even the stray animals that are going around, and the environment, the timing of the deciding to go for the journey or anything, planning and weather and so forth.
Yes.
So all of these four things combined, they create either a risky journey road or they create a safe road. Yeah. And if we're going to talk about this, a driver, we sometimes we have inexperienced drivers. And again, if you go back to the statistics of Royal Oman Police, you will find out that majority of those die on the roads or getting involved in accidents are in the age of 18 and 40. Yeah, those are the youth. Those are the blood of the country. Those are
the backbone.
Definitely, the country has spent so much, invested so much to train them and everything. And soon they get out of the university where we need their hands to start building the country, we lose them certainly. Yeah. So again, if we look at the driver, how do we train them? Let us ask ourselves: is the training methodology now for training our driver, is it the correct one? Yeah.
Dr. Weil looks unpleased. Maybe he has something to say about this.
I've always been very unpleased on the way we train, and even before that, how we choose the trainers. I mean, the trainers themselves, they need a lot of work, and I believe that the majority would not even pass a proper driving test.
I agree.
In Oman, we don't have driving lessons. We are taught how to hold the steering wheel, how to step on the pedals, and that's it. We are not taught how to drive.
I won't make the situation as grim as yours, Doctor. But
because listen, what are the criteria? What are the criteria of
a person
being a trainer?
Yeah, training the trainer. I agree with you.
There is no criteria. I know someone, a neighbor of ours, who had been sacked from several companies. He was a driver in those companies. In all three companies, he was sacked because he had terrible and silly accidents. Very silly accidents, but very severe accidents as well. And he costed them a lot. So after he became jobless, he bought a small car and he became an instructor, teaching people how to drive.
Wow.
And I really
I
really blame one party only, Royal Oman Police. Okay? Because this is where it all starts.
Yeah, I would like not to generalize the situation, although I do somehow agree with you. Mm-hmm. Today, while I was coming to the studio, I was almost met with an accident with the instructor, with the driving car. Believe me, in the traffic light just before the bridge, I was going to be banged by one of those guys. But anyways, it's true. I agree with you. But what I know is that there are a lot have been done, but perhaps they're not enough. Mm-hmm. They're not enough. We really need to.
Yes, we know there've been a lot of training for the trainers.
There is.
But what you said is very relevant. Is choosing them from the beginning first.
Exactly. Who's to be a trainer? They need to be role model of these guys. You know, even a person who's sometimes in the car being trained by that instructor. He sees the instructors, how he instructs him to drive safely and what to do in the roundabouts, what to do in the traffic light. The soon the driver or the instructor gets to the seat, the poor trainee sees different monster behind the wheel and how he drives completely. Yeah. So we should, we need these guys to be a role model of our
My wife had 3 trainers. Because of commitments and sometimes the female trainers could not commit. So she had 3 of them, and there is one common message amongst some of these female trainers. One is don't do this in front of the police. So you can do it now. Yeah, don't do this in front of the police. Yeah, this is wrong. When you drive, don't do this.
Yeah.
Secondly, when it comes to answering very crucial questions about etiquette of driving, or how to drive this, or how to do that, the answer is ask your husband.
Wow.
Yes, ask your husband. He will teach you this.
What about if the husband is a rally driver?
Yes. Ask your husband, or ask your brother, or ask the male person, the male in your family.
Yeah.
And this is reality.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I mean, I don't dispute with you in terms of we need to train.
We've been so hard on the trainers now. Let's move to the next point.
Okay. So again, we say the driver, and sometimes it's not the trainer. The driver been trained on a 1.8 car like Eco Corolla for the last, for instance, 3 months or 6 months. And suddenly when they get the license, we are, as a parents, we want to please our kids, and we go
to
reward him by a 500 horsepower sport car or something. Now that does not match. You know, you need to really go gradually. When we give our youth the appropriate car, we need to match.
And this is a misconception among parents, that we think that we love them.
Yeah.
Because we love them, so we buy them something which is, expensive and which is powerful and which they can brag about in front of their friends. But we don't know that we are selling the lives of our children on a golden plate.
Today, I've read some news on the papers. It was that there would be a collaboration between insurance companies and the database with the police.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go and insure your car, they will look at how many accidents you had, and the price would go up accordingly. Now, to those who just start driving cars, in some countries, they can't actually afford buying sports cars.
Yeah.
Why? Not because the sports cars themselves are very expensive, but because the insurance just goes and
very
hits.
High. Which is the case
high.
Here again. It's the case here, but it's not that severe.
It's not that severe.
It's the case here.
Yes.
Yeah.
But if you can afford it, if you can afford a sports car, the insurance would be
enjoying
a piece of cake.
Yeah, but not in some countries where the insurance is intentionally raised so that people do not afford that.
I prefer for anybody whose son is a new driver to buy him even a very old car with a lot of problem with it. That's what I did with my son. Every time he comes to say, Daddy, father, the battery is gone. I say, yes, find out how to repair it. The radiator is leaking. I say, yes, find out how to repair it. I'll pay the money, but you go and repair it. So he started learning every day of a lot of breakdown of the car. Yeah, it was a very old Subaru car I bought him. And he was so much angry about it. But I totally, intentionally wanted him to learn the basics of the car itself.
I hope he's not listening.
I hope he doesn't, but he's... but he has a good car now. And again, the driver. We need to focus on the driver. We need to train them not only how to drive, but we need to tell them the right attitude of driving, the etiquette of driving, the behavior of a driver, training them on the defensive driving, how to react with the other third parties of user. You might be the best driver in the world, the safest driver, but the other people won't allow you to drive safely. They might irritate you. So we really need to teach people all these etiquettes.
What about traffic fines? Do you think it has an impact on regulating people how they drive? Again, this is a sensitive issue for you, Dr.
It is. I've wrote a piece on this once, and the highest fine for a traffic offense is 50 riyals. Now, what is 50 riyals? For someone who earns 2,000 or 3,000 riyals, this is someone who is an employee. What about businessmen, their children?
That's why some countries they give it the percentage of your income.
And that's how it should be. I mean, in Switzerland, it depends how it depends on two things: income and your social status. People who have very high social status, they might think that they are above the law, but in Switzerland they are not, because they get punished according to their social status and their income as well. And I think we need to introduce that
But for the sake of argument, Dr. Wa'il, the majority of the accidents that are happening now in Oman are from people who are middle class or below middle class.
Do we have that statistic?
So if we charge the fines as a percentage of their income, it would still pay a minimal amount.
No, it's not. It's never minimum, because it is always painful to your pocket.
But so again, Dr. Wa'il, I agree with the statistics. Statistics show that. But again, those are the majority of the country. Yeah. So if you see majority of them are middle class and lower class, below the middle, they are the majority. So definitely, when 100 of those get accident and one from the higher class, that's the normal ratio between the different classes.
Yeah. Okay, let us go for a short break, and then we'll continue the discussion after the break.
The Modern Family.
Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu once entered into the house of the Prophet ﷺ for the first time. And as he sat down, he had a smile on his face, when suddenly he began to cry. Yabki. The Prophet ﷺ looked at him and said, Ma bika ya Umar? Radiyallahu anhu. He said, Ya Rasulullah. He had looked around his house, you see, and he saw that the Prophet ﷺ's house was extremely simple. His mat was made of straw, and he could see the marks on the Prophet ﷺ's body. His pillow was stuffed with coarse leaves, and he could see the effects on his cheek, his blessed cheek, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He looked at the corner and he found some barley which was not attended to, still in its mother stem. He looked at his lamp, his lantern, and he found that there was no fuel in it to light it up for some light and heat. He said, Ya Rasulullah, the emperors of Kisra and Qaisar, of Persia and Rome, they are reclining on silk and eating from the most exquisite meals. Everything they want is there for them, and wearing from the most expensive clothing. Wa anta ya Rasulullah, you, O Messenger of God, the best of all human beings, fi hada, like this? The Prophet ﷺ stood up and he smiled, to teach us a lesson, not to wail and whine. He said to him, Ya Umar, ألا يرضيك أن لهم الدنيا ولنا الآخرة? Does it not please you, Ya Umar, that all they will get in the end is this temporary life, and then they'll chuck it all behind them? They won't take any of it with them. And we have the hereafter. Obviously, when he's saying to Umar radiallahu anhu the hereafter, Umar radiallahu anhu understands what this world means and what the hereafter means. It's an everlasting bliss that never, ever runs out. You'd be crazy if someone said to you, work and work all your life and struggle for 50 years so that you can receive 1 minute of pleasure. Would you be sane if you were to go through hardship and plowing for 50 years to receive 1 minute of pleasure? Would anybody do that? No, no one would do that. So we plow and struggle for the 60 or 70 years of our life, which in the end is only like a day or an hour. وَيَذَرُونَ وَرَاءَهُمْ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and they leave behind them an enormous day, which is everlasting in the hereafter. So Umar ibn al-Khattab replied by saying, he wiped his tears and he said, Bala, Bala ya Rasulullah. Oh yes, ya Rasulullah. This is exactly what we want.
The Modern Family.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to The Modern Family. Today our topic is road safety. We have with us Mr. Musallam Al-Khaifi, a safety expert. We were talking before the break about some of the reasons why we have a lot of accidents on the road, Sheikh Musallam. But we would love to get into parenting now, and how road safety is important to parents, and how should they take care of their loved ones in their cars.
Parents, first of all, need themselves to be aware of the safe road using. They should, learn and should find, information of how to be safe in the roads, how to plan their journeys, how to drive safely. And secondly, they need to be role models. You know, children learn from their parents what they don't learn from anybody else. They would like to imitate the parents of the time. If you are a kind of person who go behind the wheel and start doing a lot of handbraking turns, do a lot of speeding, you know, jumping to the red lights and trying to do all this while your children watching you and showing them that that is macho and mature, then definitely those kids, how do you expect them, how they're going to come up?
Yes.
Although how many words you're going to tell them after that? What they've seen is more than what you're telling them.
Something which is very, very common that came to my mind, Sheikh Musallam, is that most of the time some parents will violate the traffic rules, and then once they see the policeman, and then they say they will wear their seat belt or they'll switch off their phone in front of their kids, showing them that I'm only doing this
for the police. And not only that, I wish if that was the only point, but they can go even further and talk bad things about police in front of their kids.
Yes.
You know, how bad the police are, they're taking our monies for these.
As the police is the enemy.
Absolutely. And what do you expect that kid when he starts driving? What mentality is going to have?
Yes.
It's the same. Yeah. So we need to be very careful. We need to teach our children that the police are there to
regulate
the laws, and these laws are not only kept by them. They are the logic of everybody who wants everyone to be safe. Yeah.
And the law of the state.
Exactly.
And as long as you're living in the state, you need to obey the law.
Absolutely. So the parents need to be role model on all of this. They need to show their children how to drive safely since they're in the early age, not until they are 18 when they want to drive, or 17. From the early age, when you go out, you always have to obey by the rules. Whenever you get into the car, just put up that seatbelt of yours so that the children see it and do it also. Not only telling them and you don't use it. And
Sheikh Musallam, I have a problem understanding a contradiction when it comes to drivers. You'll find someone who is very polite, very gentle, very well-mannered. But when he's driving, he's a total different person. And I believe, as a person, that your manners should be reflected on the road as well.
Yes.
Otherwise, you'll be living a two-sided coin of your life.
Yes.
You'll have two personalities, which is a contradiction.
Exactly. This is a psychological thing that many people are wondering. Why some, as you said, calm people. And I've seen one cartoonist one time, it's a very nice cartoon, talking exactly what you're saying. The soon you get back to that steering, you become an evil with the two horns in your head, and you completely change from what you are in other social life. So yes, the thing here is that people need to learn how not to be irritated by the others. Some of them will tell you, if you ask them why, they say, well, we try to drive safety. I try to put the distance between two cars, but if I put a distance, somebody else gets in front of me. You know, and make my distance even shorter.
And irritates me.
So every time I do that, at the end, I myself don't put any distance because I don't want to. Speeding, people coming at their back and flashlights you while you're they irritate you, they make you shaky, and then you might try to enter in the right-hand side to let them go without even seeing that there is a car there, and many accidents happens. So what we say to the guys, always when you're in the road, try to be calm. Okay. First of all, plan your journey appropriately. Keep enough time for you to reach your destination. If it actually requires 20 minutes, give it 30 minutes. Give it 10 minutes more. Now, for instance, especially if many here in Ramadan, they would like to make some idhkar. Use that time for idhkar. Use that time to put some cassettes to learn something. Open some, switch on radios and learn about new things. Use the journey as interesting. Yes, of course. Use that time as if you're at home while you do other things in your car. So enjoy the ride.
That will occupy you from thinking about the outside environment of the other car.
It will keep you away from competing with those who actually speed. Yeah. Because especially in Ramadan and just before iftar, just before sunset, the number of people who are speeding just increase and peaks up.
You will be surprised. Yeah. You will be surprised. You're completely right. Sometimes when I put some of the CDs of some information, want to learn something, and I see the traffic going very fast, I get irritated. I wish if the traffic still go very slow so that I don't reach my destination before I finish my CD. So I think we need to start giving people awareness. And also, as per our His Majesty, the Sultan of this country, correctly said it in the Sahel Masarrat. He said that this is not acceptable. We can't bear this anymore. And everyone should involve himself in this. We don't put all the burden on ROP. Everybody in the country, from parents, from schools, from institutes, from everyone has to do something. Definitely. We need the companies. They need to invest in doing some awareness campaign for this thing. I know some of them they're doing already, but we need really to go further and do more, because what we see is not enough. Yeah. So everybody must do something. The parents, of course, as we said, they are the fundamental and they are the basics of what the kids come up after that, how they use the roads. So we need to be very, very, very careful with that. I know some institute training children from the early age of what are the road safety designs and the road safety rules and all other things.
Even the Traffic Safety Institute, which is part of the ROP, they have special programs for children to teach them road safety rules.
Yeah,
regulations.
I've seen that, and that's a very good idea. But I wonder if we cover majority of our school children, because it's only one place, and I don't think all will get the opportunity to go through it. Yeah, there are some I've seen in other countries. They have what they call it, the
non-profit organization.
NGOs. They have buildings. In each building, in each floor, they have these electrical small cars for the kids. One floor teach them about the traffic light. One floor teach them about how to drive in the corners. So I think in the future we need to come up with things like this, because how we raise our children and how to deal in the road safety is how they will become up afterwards, and they will use that.
We are very, very much worried, Sheikh Musallam, about the way we drive in Oman. Although there are a lot of countries outside there that they have larger roads, bigger roads than ours. They have more powerful cars. They don't have the speed limits as we have, and they have less accidents than ours.
Yes, so we go back again to the awareness of the driver. The driver is the fundamental part of any accidents. It's not the vehicles, not the roads, because we are taught to drive according to the conditions of the road. For instance, if I give you now a Ferrari, and I put you in a very wide road, there's no any vehicle in that road, it's completely open for you to go up to 200 kilometers an hour, and suddenly there was a mist or fog, and you can't see 2 meters ahead of you. Would you really drive 200 kilometers an hour?
No, not really.
You will never. So we normally do not drive because of the roads of the car itself. We drive according to the condition. And if people are learned to drive according to the conditions, then we can't say there is a bad designed roads or there's a bad so forth.
And actually our roads are not designed for that speed.
Cars are moving and roads are still.
Yes.
Yes. So when we can't always blame the roads.
Exactly. We do have sometimes, for instance, we can blame the emergency services around the roads or something like that. But as you said correctly, we can't blame the roads. We are supposed to driving according to the condition. For someone who have a four-wheel drive, when he goes to the wadi, the way he drives his car in those he drives his car on those wadi areas with the stones and everything. It's completely different when he start going out of the wadi and start driving on the main road. And it drives faster, it drives, So we know we are supposed to drive according to the road conditions. And again, the vehicle themselves. There is nothing called a safe car. Although we know we have some stores that sells this particular car is a bit safer, but there's no safe car. A car is just a tin with a machine in it.
I don't think any company have ever made a car that is safe enough for our driving style. Not yet.
I agree with you.
Okay.
So there is no safe car, but of course there is a good cars and a bad car, and again sometimes the technology doesn't help. For one time, a guy, smashed very badly in the wall while he was reversing, And when we asked him what happened, it's very clear. It's a big wall behind you. He said, you know what, I got use of this vehicle with a sensor, and I thought this vehicle had a sensor. So when
he was waiting.
He was waiting for the beep. Toot, toot, toot. So he drove a car without that technology. He smashed the wall and he smashed the car. And so sometimes technology are as bad as an old ways.
Even worse, now we have cars which park themselves.
Okay, Musallam, now we have kids in the car. What should parents know about kids in the car?
I will start with something very touchy that happened to me one time. Is that I'm sure you all know Sheikh Al-Fan Al-Aisri.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was one time on the road. I think it was in the sea road between the Wave and Al-Ghubra, and he saw two parents, a lady sitting with a toddler in front seat, and a guy driving the car who was supposedly to be the father. He couldn't take the situation. He stopped the guy, flashed him, and went to the guy after he stopped. And the guy, put down the mirror as usual, seeing a guy with the big beards and amama, and he was, I don't know, between. I was thinking what this guy is going to tell me. But anyway, Sheikh Al-Fan asked him, do you sell your son? And this guy was shocked. What do you mean? He said, no, I want to buy your toddler, I want to buy your son. Do you sell them? He said, excuse me, he was between smiling and shocking. And they say, no, sorry, I'm not selling my son. He said, what about 20 riyals? He said, no. He said, 40 riyals. He said, no, even 1 million riyal, I'm not selling him. He said, well, do you know how much does the child seat cost? It's less than 40 riyals. If you really like your kid, you don't want to sell him, please, for God's sake, just go there and buy the child seat and strain them behind. And that's all what he did. And he said he left, he went into the car, and while he was looking at the rear mirror, he saw the mother and the child going outside of the front seat, going to the back seat, at least.
Sitting at the back seat.
So I think we need to start, all of us, to be responsible of this. We've seen a lot of miserable in the roads. These kind of things happening everywhere. Whenever you go, you'll find a mother and a child sitting in the front seat. And worse, most of these cars now have airbags. And in the very simple accident, that airbag come out like a rocket and like a bomb.
Especially the cover.
Exactly.
On top of the
Sometimes
airbag.
the cover, but the airbag itself, it just in a milliseconds go out and bang you. So if you have a kid in front of you, the head of the kid is going to be in your face. You're going to break your face. You're going to break the baby's skull, of course. And many accidents do happen. Although there are cars, that you can disable the front passenger airbags, but still we don't recommend this. So please, we ask everybody who have a toddler, have children, teach them how to sit in their seats.
Some would have an argument that no, our kids scream and cry and they don't want to sit in the baby seat. What can we tell them?
They soon, one day, if you tell the children, if you teach them from the beginning and tell them, if you don't sit in your seat, you're not going out. Leave them for one day. Second day, they will automatically go. And I know this, because they like to go out. Yeah. Especially if you take their counterparts, their sisters or brothers, and they know they're going for fun, and you don't take them because they don't want to belt up or to sit on their seats. Second day, believe me, they will do it automatically.
I never had this problem with any of my children, and the reason is, since day one, since they were born, they were always on their seats. They were always on their seats, and they have never ever knew anything different. So the problem of having them to shout and scream, alhamdulillah, we never experienced that. I know some of my friends are struggling because they haven't taught them that from the beginning, and they start at an age of 4 or 5, and children try and rebel and not wanting to be there. But my advice to parents is that from day one, keep them on their seats. There are seats that are suitable for every age group. So from day one, you could buy a suitable seat rather than keeping them on the mother's lap, and try and feed them before you go to the car, so you don't have to feed them while they are in the car.
And I think most of the time we don't see how important this until we lose a loved one. We have a member of our family who lost 3 daughters, and they were all thrown outside the car during the accident, and they all passed away. And don't wait, dear listeners, don't wait until this happens to your loved ones. Take an action now at this point of time.
Yeah, exactly. As we said yesterday, the behavior of something that you tell yourself, this is going to happen to everybody but me, that should change. You always have to put yourself, what if this going to happen to me? Don't think, everybody goes behind the steering wheel, thinks that he's the best driver in this world. He's the calm driver in this world. He's the rally driver of this world. And nothing's going to happen to me. Until something happens, then he starts to realize. But then it is too late. You lost your feet, you lost your job, you lost your family, and so forth. So we need people to learn from these accidents. We need more. For instance, the TV, television, and again, like yourself, in the FM and the radio, we need more campaign of safety. Really do need. We don't have to wait until we have a traffic week and we start doing the campaign. Let's do it at least once a month.
Within our families even.
Exactly. Let's start it doing there and do these things and teach people on the atrocities that happens in the roads. And
there are two more things that really irritate me, Sheikh Msallam, on the road. One is when the parents or the drivers allow their children to stand next to the sunroof, or half of their body is outside the car from the sunroof. And the second one is drivers holding toddlers while they're driving. This is very, very irritating and very, very dangerous. And many times when you flash your lights to that car wanting to, advise them, they get irritated as if it's none of your business.
I agree what is Sheikh Khalili, may Allah give him the health and prosperity, is that he said this is exactly nahrun wa intihar. It's slaughtering and committing suicide. You do that, if you kill your child and you're still alive, you should be killed also. Because doing that, you're killing that's not accident. And I'm going to speak about the qadha wa qadar also, because there is a lot of misperceptions in this country, where somebody does something funny like that and he ends up killing some member of his family.
He says, this is
and
the
everybody
will of God.
comes to calm him and tell him, it's qadha wa qadar, so you have to be patient. No, you don't have to be patient. It's not qadha wa qadar. It's you who killed your child. I don't agree with the qadha wa qadar. When you do something foolish, when you do something against the law,
and then you throw it
when
on
you
God.
do something, against everything, and then you throw it to the will of God, I don't agree with it. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala يقول لك ما أصابك من حسنة, whatever good happens to you, فمن الله, that from Allah subhanahu. وما أصابك من سيئة فمن نفسك, it's from you.
Anything bad happens to you, it's from you.
وما أصابكم من مصيبة فبما كسبت أيديكم, whatever bad fall upon you, it's from your hands, your own hands, what you do.
So from your own actions.
Exactly. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says so many times in this ayat, وَلَا تُلْقُوا بِأَيْدِيكُمْ إِلَى التَّهْلُكَةِ. Do not throw with your bare hands into ruins. خُذُوا حِذْرَكُمْ, take your precautions. All of this. Why would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tell us all of this if it's not in our hands? It is in our hands to take precaution. It is in our hands to do things safely.
Yes.
We are the ones who decide whether we want to be safe. Yes, some might argue, what about if I do everything safe and some maniac come from the other side of the road and kill me or my family? Then we'll say yes, that is your
At least you have done your part.
Exactly. But driving in speed, distorting, doing all distortion things while you're driving, using your mobile, using everything, and not wearing seat belts, and speeding, and you're in fatigue. WhatsApp, using messages, and at the end something happens. We go there and tell the guy, it's okay, you be patient, this is it's not the will of God. It is your will. You decided that. And you have to be accountable for that. You have to be accountable and responsible for that. That is killing, that is slaughtering.
So our advice, Musallam, for parents who have children up to the age of, let's say, 12, what is the good practice so we could protect our children and take all precautions that nothing bad happens?
Yes, first of all, as we said before, we need to be role models ourselves. Yeah,
that is number one.
Yeah, that's number one. Secondly, we need to be ourselves to be aware of how to be safe in the roads.
Okay.
So we need awareness. We need to learn. We need to
educate
ourselves and talk about it in our sittings and our gatherings. Yeah.
Number three,
we need to make sure that the children obey the rules. As we abide by the rules, we need to make sure our children obey the rules. Any rules, not only the road safety.
Yeah.
Because when you teach your children to obey the rules at home, at schools, at everything, the child, rise up with knowing that yes, the rules are there to be obeyed. But if you show your child that the rules are there to be broken, then yes, they will break all the rules.
And number four?
Okay? And number four, please plan your journey and make sure that all the children are belt up whenever they come. Their child seats are there. You make sure that everybody is trained in the car, and always try to make the journey as much as entertainment to your children, so that they don't start disturbing you or anything. If you can put those DVDs with the movies like cartoons or something, they are very cheap now. Do it so that the children will stay calm.
Or give them books.
Give them book. Do some funny question and answers sessions. You can do there's a lot of things, methodologies. You can make the children like the trip and stay calm.
Okay, we're running out of time. We have only a few minutes to go, but I have another very important topic that I want you to discuss very shortly, which is motorbikes and bicycles on the road, and how parents allow their children to wander around on the streets unattained until where it's really late at night, and you find these little kids running around with these motorbikes and bicycles.
Yeah. Again, these we know that they are very dangerous. They are not like four-wheelers. Yeah. The bikes we buy them, and even the four-wheelers bikes, which are supposed to be driven in the beaches, in the sand dunes, we find them in the roads, which is no helmets, nothing,
and they're extremely fast.
Very fast, very fast. And we need to really everybody, all the community, to stay together. If a father doesn't know this, a neighbor must tell that person that you are exposing your child, your beloved child, to dangers. In this.
Yeah. One more thing, Salam. If we don't have car seats, I mean, this is reality. Omani families are big, but they can't afford 4x4s or family cars. They might have a saloon. So in that case, they will have to seat larger number of people in the car. Is it a good solution or a temporary solution to have two children sharing a single seat belt?
That is a very last result, because again, if you have an incident with two child staying in the same belt, they're going to bang into each other, they're going to squeeze each other, and that can create also another problem. So we don't really recommend that, but if it is the last solution, then yes. But because we are a big family, we have many drivers in the family, so why don't we go in convoy? Yeah, why don't we ask somebody else to help us in that if we really want to go somewhere? So let us find safer solutions before we go to the last resort.
Sheikh Musallam bin Rashid Al-Khaifi, an expert in safety and awareness, thank you very much for being with us, and I hope our audiences benefit from today's session. I'll leave Wa'il with the thought of today.
Thought of the day today is a verse from the Quran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "For each person there are angels in succession, before and behind them. They guard them by command of Allah. Verily, never will Allah change the condition of a person until they change it themselves."
This was your show, The Modern Family, with me, Hatem Al-Absalam, and
Wa'il Al-Harrasi.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
The Modern Family. Let us bridge the gap between generations. Let us shape up the modern family. The Modern Family. The Modern Family. Join the discussion and give us your feedback. Live with Hatem Al-Absalam and Dr. Wa'il Al-Harrasi. The Modern Family. Knowing that God is pleased with us.